Yeah. What up? What up? It's Big Twins, aka the grimy one. Y'all know the Mobb Deep infamous clique. Yo, check it out, man. I want y'all to tap in to Cigar Talk Toronto, man. You know, they be putting it in, interviews and this and that. So check them out. Cigar Talk Toronto from Big Twin, y'all. You already know.
All right, welcome back. Another episode, Cigar Talk Toronto. We're on the Block 105 radio Saturday night. Appreciate everybody joining in as usual. Shout out to everybody that's listening on the block. Tonight, we got another great episode. We got Ron Rich with us tonight. What's going on, man?
What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? What's happening?
Just about to light up this cigar, and I got my whiskey already poured, so I'm good to go.
Facts. I'm there. I'm right there with you. Right there with you, big dog.
So I'm curious because you come out of Harlem, correct?
Facts.
What led you down to Virginia? How did you end up gravitating down to Virginia?
Well, excuse me. I had some family that that came down to Virginia, and they kind of set up out here and basically made a life other than what we come from. And I just followed suit. I got tired of the bricks, even though Harlem is home, but I got tired of the bricks, man. I wanted some more sunshine, so I came south, bro.
And how long have you been down in Virginia recording?
I've been down here now, probably recording maybe about a year now, year and a half, recording out of Virginia.
Okay. How did you find the different atmosphere comparing Harlem to Virginia in terms of your artistic ability to create music? Did it benefit you more going to Virginia? Did it change your style any? How did you adapt that surrounding?
I gotta say, at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it all the way tall. I'm from Harlem, and we from Harlem. We feel like wherever we go, we make our mark. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna always stick out. But I came down here, just being who I am. Letting the world hear my story, and it was a little challenge because of the cultural difference in music out here. You understand? Yeah. But at the end of the day, real is real. You know what I'm saying? Niggas gonna want to hear real music. Give a fuck if you was on Mars. Niggas gonna want to hear real music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what kind of helped the brothers out here kind of gravitate to me. And, they showing love, man. I love Virginia, bro. Virginia done been good to me, man.
Do you, speaking about that, there's this old, not even so much an old saying, it's still a saying today, but part of the problem with New York hip hop was that it was never united because it was always, if you were born in Queens, you didn't fuck with people from Brooklyn, right? So the boroughs were always divided, and that went through as the music. When the South started coming up, they were more united in a sense where they stuck together. Do you feel like being an artist coming from New York, there should be more collaborations with each other representing New York as a whole instead of individual boroughs?
I mean, at the end of the day, New York is New York. You know what I mean? Anybody that's from New York, they know New York is New York. One thing I learned about New York, they may go at each other, but when it's time to go, at something away from New York, you know what I'm saying? They stick together. I guess that's the competition of it. You know what I mean? Which borough is the best? Which borough got the best music? Which borough, got the dress the best? You know what I'm saying? So it's always been a New York friendly competition amongst the boroughs. Every borough is like a culture. You know what I'm saying? They got their own different culture.
Yeah.
And everybody pretty much love their borough, but at the end of the day, it's all New York.
How long have you been rapping for?
Honestly speaking, man, if I told you this, you probably wouldn't believe me, man. Like I always been rapping, dipping and dabbing, but taking it seriously, I probably say it's been about 2 years, man. And it's funny because how I started taking it serious is people started taking me serious. I was rapping just to vent, get my little, things out with my trials and tribulations of my life. That was my therapy, you know what I'm saying? And it just got to the point where my therapy started being what people wanted to hear.
What what made you start kind of like dipping in rap to begin with? Was it just because there was so much things going on that it was a way to, like you say, therapy, a way to vent, get it out of your system?
Nah, I would say, see, like I said, man, shout out to New York. I'm from New York. That's part of our culture. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
part, no, we don't really, you come up doing a lot of things, man, but music is like solid from when you was little. Mama loved cleaning up and everything. She playing all the old school joints loud in the crib. You know what I'm saying? So you get a feel and a knack for that early. You know what I mean? And you just adapt and you put your little twist on it. And music is like real deep expression for us where we from.
What's been the biggest shock factor to you getting into like when you started taking hip hop serious? Um, you know, everybody always has a perception of something before they get into it. What's been, as establishing yourself as an MC, as a business, what's been the most surprising aspect that you didn't see coming?
I say the people, man, the love from the people because, you know, I'm not the kind of person that's really out and about too much. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather a lot of private, different settings. Um, but I was just really shocked how the people responded, man. The people just responded to me like they just was like, yeah, more. That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking. Then my era, you know what I'm saying? Of brothers who came up, we really played in them streets, man. Some had to, some didn't have to, but we played in them streets, so we understand that that was then, this is now. You know what I'm saying? That street life, that shit is over, man. That shit is a myth. You know what I mean? I try to tell all the young kids, man, that shit is a myth, man. That shit is designed for you to go somewhere or something to happen, man. You know what I mean? So now you got the brothers that's working, take care of their family, doing what they supposed to do, but they wanted that reminder. They wanted to hear that music that remind them. And that's crazy because me and Lefty was just talking about this in the car. How brothers want that reminder, like, oh, it make me feel like when I was back in the days getting money and chilling with the peoples and I was out and about and I was fly, you know what I mean? So the music kind of give people it let them go back, you know what I mean, to that
yeah.
era. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much my angle with it, as well as telling my story and getting my story out, man. That's pretty much, what it is.
T touching on that, you're talking about it being a myth, and it's one of two ways. It's it's by design too, and it's a vicious cycle that I think sometimes needs to be talked about more from people that have been through it to try to educate more. Because when I had Ty Nitty on, he said it the best. He's like, if somebody goes and shoots your man, you have one life lost. Now you go and retaliate, shoot their man. Now another life is gone, but now you're locked up, so your life is gone. So everybody just, regardless whether it's death or jail, everybody just loses their lives, and it's a vicious cycle that is by design. And how do you break it?
I'm a firm believer in self. A lot of people, history has told that, it's been a lot of rallies, there's been a lot of gatherings, to get the people to do right or try to get the people to act right. But I believe it's within self. If you got 10 people in the area and all 10 of those people are very conservative on self and what they got going on and being the best that they could be, that environment is going to be good. You know what I mean? As opposed to that one person taking them other nine brothers and talking like, hey, listen, we need to do this and we need to do that. Nah, I think if everybody account for themselves and
Yeah.
live to their highest being, that surrounding area will be a great area.
Do you think that shit is starting to spiral a lot worse these days? And I blame social media because now listen, we all as an individual have choice, right? We all make a choice, period. And you got to own your actions. But the problem is that when it comes to social media and the algorithms, they're pushing that that negative, they're pushing that violent algorithm because like you could go on fucking Instagram and you could see someone get killed, but you can't see a female nipple. You know what I mean? So they're driving people towards the violence. So it makes people, I said this before, it almost like it fabricates drama because now people create drama because they think they're going to go and get those viral views, but they don't realize that life is gone now.
Yeah, you get one of those, man. I tell people that all the time, man. You know, that's not, you could break your arm and heal up. You could break your leg and get sick. But this life thing, man, you only get one of those, man. You fumble that, it's over. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I highly believe in living by example.
Yeah.
I feel like if the older brothers set the tone, the younger brothers will follow. But here's the thing, man. We have a tendency to talk at the young brothers instead of to them, you know. More talking to them and get them to listen. You know what I mean? You talking at them. They don't want to hear what you did. They don't want to hear how you had it back in the 80s. They don't want to hear none of that. You know what I'm saying? They want to know what's going on right now, how I can get to this chicken. You know what I mean? If you ain't talking what I'm talking, I ain't trying to hear you. So you gotta really kind of like let them talk, man, and understand their language before you could try to get in and change. You know what I mean?
And that's key what you just said. Instead of talking to or talking at them, talk to them, but you have to take in what they're saying first.
Right.
Everybody wants to be heard, you know what I mean? And to be honest, everybody wants that help and that direction to be led down. And if you're not going to take the time to listen, what's the point?
Right. Right.
So, going back to you growing up, what uh what was your first impactful hip hop moment where you kind of caught on, got starry-eyed, and was like, you know what? I could do this.
My mom's bought me two tapes. She bought me Eric B. and Rakim, paid in full, and she bought me Slick Rick, the Ruler's Back. I must have had so much tape on that tape inside from that tape popping and me putting it back together. Man, I used to try, bro. I used to stand in the mirror. I used to get the aluminum foil, act like I was Slick Rick, man. Man, from then on, I said, yeah, yo, this rapping shit is it, man. No bullshit. I said, this is it right here. These niggas is winning. So I would think that was my first real introduction, into it. You know what I mean? My mom bought me them two tapes, man. I had to play them two tapes for years.
When when you started dabbling into it, who I would assume just because you're from New York, you were looking up to New York artists, but who would be some of the artists you were kind of looking to other than Rakim, Slick Rick,
Like,
as as a
like
guidance and a way to establish your direction to go to get into hip hop?
I mean, I was fortunate enough to, again, come up where I came up. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm from Harlem. I'm from downtown, 12th Street. You know what I mean? Fifth Ave. If you know, you know. I was fortunate enough to come up, you know what I mean, under, you know, Jim from my building. Jim Jones, he from my building. So
Okay.
I was basically able to see a lot of capo movement, a lot of things he did going into the game and all of that, the whole formation of the dipset and all that. And that shit was epic, man. That shit was life changing, bro. That shit changed niggas' lives. So, what I mean? It was like after I seen Jim and them do it, and then, I started seeing all the other brothers from you know what I mean? From neighborhood, from Harlem, doing what they doing, your Dave East, your Jim Jones, you know what I mean? Shout out to all the battle rappers, your Murder Mooks, you know what I'm saying? All of these brothers who were legendary in Harlem, you know what I'm saying? It was just like follow suit, man.
Do you think do you think if artists such as, say, for example, I'll use Big L because he's from Harlem, if artists such of his caliber were still around today and within that era of, let's say, 2005 and on, when it really started to spiral more about the fashion, shout out Lefty Pacino, um, and about the image, the overnight viral clicks. Do you think if artists like himself were still around, it would have delayed or maybe not gone down that path because it would have still been more about the craft?
I mean, we could go a bunch of different ways because it ain't no telling, you know what I mean? Because if he was still here, let's say the likes of, Pun and everybody else might have, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's
Yeah.
hard to say how that, but I know Big L, he one of the legends from my town, you know what I'm saying? And he was ahead of his time then, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Big his time then. So I can imagine him now. It's a lot of them brothers, man. 2026 Big L would be crazy. So
But it's like, you look at like there's always a standard, right? In
right.
every industry, there's a standard. And sometimes I look at it like there's too many times with an artist you say a name, you gotta say RIP to it. But if they were still around, I think the standard and the level you have to approach hip hop would have been so much higher
Mm,
than with all these, TikTok sensations.
facts. That's a great point because one thing for sure, two things for certain, man. A lot of the brothers who are not with us no more, they were lyrical geniuses. And in order to even step in the ring, you had to have some type of you had to have that caliber or be a contender in that way somehow. So yeah, I mean, I definitely would have to agree with that.
Because like, I'll compare it to the boxing movement going on these days with celebrity boxing is starting to take off and it's not real boxing, right? It's two people getting in that really, if you watch them fight, they don't know how to fight. They don't know how to box. They don't know the sweet science. And that's kind of the way hip hop went, where everybody was just like, oh, I could do it. I could go and create a beat. All I got to do is say something catchy that'll catch on TikTok, look a certain way, and that's it.
They were doing it though. Niggas was doing that though. They was definitely doing that, bro. And I mean, the game just changed. Like take my type of music, lefty type of music, the type of music that we involved in. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember, 5 years ago, that nobody would have wanted to hear that because the drill was so overpowering. You know what I'm saying? Which is a
Yep.
great music. It's just unfortunate, what it has cost. But at the end of the day, it was a great genre of music, man. Them kids were so talented, man. Like that was just it was just that drill was amazing. You know what I mean? In my book, it was amazing. But at what cost? You know what I mean? It cost a lot of unnecessary things to happen. But you wouldn't have been able to hear us 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
No.
When it just hit, they would have drowned us out. So everything revolves and comes back around. You know what I mean? Everything comes back around. So it's just now is the point where the real hip hop is starting to step front stage again. We it had
Yep.
kind of back seat to, like you said, a lot of the shit that was coming about. But now hip hop kind of like deboing back to the front, and it's like,
Yep.
hold on, get what this about. And you just gotta be, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be a contender now. Now you gotta it's substance and everything, man. You gotta talk about something now.
Yep.
No
It's
bullshit.
again, go back 10 years. I was lost when it came to, I had everybody that I had already listened to from the 80s and the 90s, and that's all I would listen to. finding a new artist was almost impossible because again, you weren't getting the plays, you weren't getting the push on social media. And that's why I'm grateful for places like, the Block Radio, Straight from the Underground Radio, DJ Mikey G, all the great DJs out there playing you guys, because that's how I come across you guys. That's how I discovered people like yourself and Lefty Pacino. And I think going back to that era with the DJs is starting to come back as well. And that's a super important because that's where you're going to get that reach to new ears and to new audiences. And in the modern day podcast.
Absolutely, I agree, man. It's just new is what runs the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anything new and catchy is gonna rock. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, real hip hop kind of took a back seat a little bit. So now it's kind of like reiterating itself now, like as dominant. So more and more people are starting to want to hear the hip hop. They want to hear the stories. They want to know, they want to hear the back in the days Biggie Small stories and the back in the days Tupac anger and you know what I mean. They want to hear that now. You know, how much music now have you heard where if you don't read, you know what I'm saying, the credits, you don't know what they said. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and that's not to down it or anything like that because I'm a big fan of it. But it's time to change it up now.
It's not to down it. And this is the way I look at hip hop right now is, hip hop's been around, not that long, 51, 52 years, something like that, right? And the world has evolved so much in that time period. And so hip hop is a fast evolving genre of music. And I was talking about this yesterday. And you're starting to kind of get, if you look at electronic music, where you kind of have electronic music, but then you kind of get the sub genres, you get the techno, the trance, the deep house. So now with hip hop, you're starting to get those sub genres of different styles of hip hop. And I think it's a good thing because everybody likes a different style. Some people love the South, some people like the West, some people like the drill. So
Right.
now you're starting to get those subsections of hip hop where it is becoming more of a global uh, music.
Right. Absolutely, man. Because it's just so crazy what hip hop can do, man. You get a person from New York, you know, Canada, Australia, and just because they make hip hop, they connected to the hip hop world. So somebody in Africa may want to hear it, or somebody in, you know what I'm saying? Because it's the connection of the hip hop world, and that's powerful, man. The connection that hip hop brings together is really, really powerful, man. It's
Yeah,
powerful.
it's yeah, hip hop as a topic of conversation. It just you start talking about artists and different styles and flavors, like you could go on for hours about that conversation.
Facts.
And it's been responsible for a lot of different fashion trends. I got a question. I'm curious about what your thoughts on this. You know, we you go back to the 90s, early 2000s, hip hop really supported their own brands, right? You had like Rockefeller, Sean John, fucking FUBU, et cetera, Fat Farm. Do you think when and this is my opinion, when Hollywood started to invade and everybody was more about the Gucci and the Prada and shit, do you think that killed a lot of business?
For what for the urban,
Yeah, the
yeah.
urban section, yeah.
Because you got to remember, if a pair of Rockaware jeans, you know what I'm saying, was what $60-$70 back then, a pair of Gucci jeans is, what I mean, $900. I mean, think about how many Rockaware jeans could have got bought for that $900.
Yep.
Did so it's like that shit definitely did kind of like tear up the urban, you know what I mean. Dudes had to go out and get it how they live, man.
Yeah, it definitely changed because it was exploding. I mean, when you got listen, when you got white kids that grew up in the suburbs fucking wanting that pair of Fat Farms and you know Sean Johns, I mean, you're doing something right. At the end of the day, it's about making money. It's about business, right? And when it comes to something like that, like you said, what's the point of making money if it's not making money?
That's a
I
fact.
love I love that term, man. I'm gonna use that term. I'm gonna keep that term in my head. And I'm gonna put that to everything I do from now on.
Put that on some shirts, merch.
That could happen in about half an hour.
No doubt.
I do have a merch store, eh? So I do have a merch store where I have all these different designs and I'll send you the link for it. We'll create some for yourself as well.
Okay, I appreciate that. Definitely.
But you know, we're living in that era now where I think a lot of people have the perception of and and I take this from my conversation with Ty Nitty was, you know, why spend all this money to wear someone else's stuff when I could wear my own?
Right, right,
And that's where the love and loyalty brand came from.
right.
And I'll send you the link to the place that I use for the merch. You guys can go and create your own merch and it costs you nothing.
Mm,
It costs you nothing. So you could just create your own and you could wear your own brand, offer it to your fans, and you can offer it at a price that is really affordable. Because that's what it comes down to these days is, you know, we live in a time where everything's tough.
right, right,
So you get a lot of people that want to support you, and you know, we all have different pockets. Some people can't afford to buy the album or buy the merch, but they can support you on socials. But there's a lot of people that can still afford to go and say spend $25 for a t-shirt.
right, right. Absolutely. Or that will sacrifice. That will
Yeah.
sacrifice. You know what I mean? Something like that to show you they support you.
And I think this is just my thought. Going back to that era where you brand it yourself more outside the music,
Mhm.
I think you guys should bring that back, man. Start representing yourself more. So what's currently in your playlist right now? What are you listening to when you get in the car, you go cruise around?
Honestly, it's Morning Star, man. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's Morning Star, man. I pretty much I ain't gonna hold you like Lefty said, man. I listen to a lot of me, man. I'm my biggest fan, you are. And in my book, you know what I'm saying? I'm the it, man. You know, that's just the me and myself, you know what I mean? But yeah, other than that though, man, I do listen to a lot of Griselda, you know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan of them brothers, man. What them brothers got going over there. They talk that pain music. Pretty much, you know, anybody who talking that pain music, man. You know, I got so much trauma, you know what I mean? Pain that, you know, we all went through. You know, mine ain't no exception than what the average brother in my hood or in her hood went through, you know what I'm saying? So it's just pain, man. I love pain music, man. You know what I mean? I love that talk that let you know, like, it's going to be all right. You went through that? Cool. You remember when you went through that? You did that? You had that? You went through that? Cool. Now it's time to do this. You know what I'm saying? That type.
So give us a perspective of yourself, you know, going through pain and trauma. Um, and there's everybody out there goes through their own version of pain and trauma, and everybody's mental state is stronger, less or more than others. How when you're in a scenario when you're facing so much, we'll say downfalls, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you on track? What keeps you driven to bring yourself out of it?
Again, it's got to be my kids, man. Saying my kids is like the number one everything in my life. You know what I'm saying? They everything. So, you know, if something look like this, that, and the third, first thing I'm gonna think of, I need to wake up next to my daughter, man. So I ain't doing that. You know what I mean? So I believe my children, my kids have really leveled me out, to give me the ability to make way better decisions concerning my life,
Yeah. That's been the common denominator anytime I've had that conversation with people is having a family. You view things and you approach things differently. You approach it with a more methodical sense because, you have a lot to lose now.
I
You can't,
can't break their heart. That's my
yeah.
every mission when I get up. I can't break their heart. And making a bad decision possibly break their heart. So I try my hardest and my best to, make sure I think throughout my day. You know what I mean? And that's attributed to them first before anything.
What's something that speaks to you right now, like if you were to reflect that you had to really put everything into it to overcome that obstacle?
Like what you mean when you say put everything into it? Like
In any sense of the matter, like say, we all kind of hit moments where we're like, fuck, how am I gonna get out of this? Or I don't know if I could do this anymore. What was a scenario where, you were contemplating hanging it up or not moving forward with it as intense as you are, and what got you through that moment to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm all system go.
I did 15 years in prison.
That would do it.
So, needless to say, no more. But
Mhm.
that was the biggest triumph in my life. You know what I mean? I overcame it. I successfully overcame it. You know what I mean? So I pretty much got the mindset knowing that those conditions are some of the roughest known to a human being, and I overcame those. So it ain't really too much that really can affect me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Isn't it, you're talking about prison. Isn't it fucked up that prison is just a business?
Yeah, I mean, it's fucked up that a lot of things just the business, man. But that was before us. It's gonna be after us and way
Yeah.
after. You know what I'm saying, but it just go to show you it's the system, man. It's the way the system is. You know what I mean? And I ain't really going. It's the system, man. You know what I mean? It's a system of things in this world, and there's a certain way and a criteria that you got to fit in. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's not saying fit in as be like anybody, but fit in day to day. The man who gets up and goes to work every day and does a 9 to 5 and come home to his family. He's fitting in with society. He's doing what, you know what I'm saying, he's supposed to do under society needs. So
Yeah.
it's just a fit in, man, at this point, and
What
live.
would you what would you say to somebody that's sitting back right now and, they're conservative with their actions and they got this idea, they got this talent, but they don't know how to go about it or they're skeptical about pursuing it? What would be your encouraging word you would say to somebody in that mindset, whether it be in the music industry or they want to be an actor or they want to start a business, but they're scared? What would be some type of advice you would offer to somebody like that to say, you know what, fuck it, go for it?
I mean, you got to take for instance. I would tell him take for instance the person that go in the casino. Yeah, he go to the machine and he put his money in there, but he got to pull a level to win the money. So you can go and put your money in there, you know what I'm saying? And you can look at the machine and it can say what the jackpot gonna read, but you got to pull that level, you know what I'm saying? The money already, you already put the money in there. It's time
Yeah.
to. So I would just tell him, man, make sure you pull a level in life, man. You know what I mean? That's the only way to jumpstart it.
Yeah, It's one of those things you don't want to get to the end of your story and look back and go, fuck, I wish I would have.
Yeah, I mean, those don't count though. I like to say those don't count. Those I wish I would have, they don't count because if you wish you would have, you would have.
Yeah,
So for me, it's like those don't really count. So at the
to
end of
to to certain people, yeah.
right,
But again, there's a lot of people that they just they don't know how to go about it. And I guess it depends on where you live as well, because there's a lot more restrictions in certain countries, right?
absolutely.
Um, my perception is it's a lot easier to start a business in the United States as opposed to Canada. But then you go where my wife is from in Colombia, it's a lot easier to start a business in Colombia than it is the United States because you deal with a lot of less permits and shit like that. But then it all costs money. So there has to be some level of hustle and drive to exhaust yourself to make that money to start your venture. And that's what I'm going to ask you about when it comes to funding your music.
Hmm.
Um, because we all know it costs a lot of money. You gotta write your music, you gotta pay to record it, you gotta pay to have it mastered and engineered. You promotion is a bit different these days where you can kind of self-promote it, but there's still a lot of costs involved in just producing one record. So what what keeps you in that not being a broke rapper and funding your life while pursuing your music? Do you have a day job, so to say?
Yeah, I cut hair. I'm a barber. Cut,
Okay.
yeah, I cut hair. Um,
So where can everybody go? Where's your barber shop, man?
I'm in Norfolk. I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. I've been out here for a minute. Um, yeah, I'm dead. I've been cutting for a minute, man. You know, it's a lot of people that know double R. You know what I'm saying when it comes to that haircutting thing. But that's my day to day. You know, I do that, and I got a couple of little small businesses that I'm kind of getting into rubber removal. Things that I never really thought that could make money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And living on that side of the lane now, you know what I mean? It's promising. You just got to put the work in, just like with everything else, man. You got to put the
And
work.
and that's why I asked that question because there's this perception out there that just because you do music, that makes you rich, that provides your life, and that's really not the case.
I said in one of my joints, I said my biggest flex is the grind because I ain't get the money yet. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that flex, my flex and my is my grind. The fact that I get out here and get to it every day. You know what I mean? That's my flex.
What got you into being a barber?
And that in itself was deep rooted because when I was younger, man. I was fortunate to have a lot of good brothers around me, and that was like the thing back then. Brothers cutting hair, they making money. That was the thing. So of course, we was trying to stay out the way, man. So we kind of adapted to that type of thing. You know what I mean? Because out the way, and the money's still good depending on how good you are. So that's why I took an interest way back then to that, and it
Is
just
uh is the barber shop like a good escape for people? Like when you look at it like in a sense, like, somebody like myself, okay, we don't have cigar lounges, but if we did, that would be my go-to place to go kick back, relax, have a conversation, smoke a cigar. For people that are that love to go and get their hair cut at a barber, is that their escape where you have those conversations, you have that, the boys' time?
yeah, it's crazy. Like for instance, today, we had a couple things going on, and Lefty pulled up. He pulled up, to just kick it, chop it up. You know what I mean? Just that atmosphere is definitely it's definitely a relaxing guys atmosphere. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of people do come to the barbershop and kick back, you know.
Do you, when it comes to your music and your barbershop, do you associate them with each other?
Absolutely. That's my barbershop is like one of my biggest promoters of my music. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If you think about it, the barbershop got a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot of people that's connected to different lanes and doing different things. That's how I built a lot of my fan base by using the barbershop.
Okay, okay. Um, I asked this question to pretty much everybody. It might be a hard one, but because I like to get different people's perspective on hip hop and how they view it.
Mhm.
I don't go top five because I like to break it down and make it even harder. I go Mount Rushmore. You got four faces on the Mount Rushmore. Who would you put on there as just a MC?
Like of all time.
All time from the birth of hip hop to current day. Who would you put on
Rough. That's rough.
there?
You said only four faces?
Four. That's it. No top five. Mount Rushmore. Four faces.
No, I wouldn't even know how to. I wouldn't even, honestly speaking, I don't even. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one because you feel like you don't even want to depreciate by not mentioning. You know what I'm saying? Someone that because it's only four people. It's only four people you could put. You know, I probably know 50 that's in the same lane in my book as the top. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And no specific order, just 50 of the or 25 of the, you know. So I mean, to give you a sense, then I mean, I would have to say I listen to coming up in my era because you know I believe that it's an era thing because
Yeah.
I could say what I feel in my era, and here it is. You get a younger era now, look at me like I'm crazy. You know what I mean? So I was the Jay-Z's, the Biggies, the Pops. You know,
Okay.
that was pretty much what I came up off of.
So that would be three. You got a fourth one still. I'm putting the pressure on. I want the fourth.
Okay, all right, hold on. Biggie, West, Biggie, Jay-Z. What's going on? All right. I would have to say, that's rough, man. That's rough. I'm gonna have to go Big Pun, man. I had to go Big Pun. He was real. He was a big impact, man. With me coming up, man.
Now, what about production? Who would you put on the Mount Rushmore of producers?
Uh, I mean that's four again.
That's four. That's four, man. These are gonna be the hardest questions that are gonna make you think that I'm gonna ask you.
I mean, I would have to go with your Dre's, Kanye's, um, you know what? I kind of did. I like Metro Boomin, man.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't say as a great, but you know, that's one of the producers that I really, you know what I'm saying? I really listen to him. You know what I mean? I like a lot of his stuff.
But that's what
Um,
it's about. It's about your perspective, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So this is your view, right?
yeah,
And there's no wrong answers. It's all perception.
right. That was four. That was three. That was three.
That was three. We got one more.
Um, mm,
Prepare yourself because it's gonna get harder from here.
man, let's say
Actually, I didn't even look at the tires. I was like,
I'm gonna say the Heat Makers, man. I'm gonna definitely say the Heat Makers, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna definitely put they was responsible for a big music for my time.
So I'm gonna hit you with something that I think I can already assume I know one of them,
Okay.
but we're gonna go Mount Rushmore of groups. Groups being three or more.
Oops. Rap groups?
Rap groups being three or more.
Okay. I mean, the Dip said they was real influential. They was real influential for me. I'm gonna have to go groups like I was an Onyx fan. I was a Wu-Tang fan.
Yeah,
Um, what was that? Three?
that was three.
Let me see. Let me see what was let me see what was another let me see what was another group. What I gave you, Onyx.
Onyx, Dipset, Wu-Tang.
Hmm. You said three or more?
Yeah, three or more. That would be that's my definition of a group, three or more.
I'm gonna have to go with Eric B and Rakim.
That would be a duo, no?
Wasn't it the third one, the DJ?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I guess you could say that. Gangstar would be a duo. That would be a producer slash DJ and
Okay.
guru. So yeah, okay, we'll take that. Because now I'm going to hit you with the hardest one. Duos
Rap.
being two people, rap duos, Mount Rushmore.
Hmm. Rap duos. What rap duos that I really listen to, y'all. Man, that's a hard one there. Let me see.
That's a hard one. I've never completed that one.
Yeah, I see why.
Mm.
Man, I can't really recall no duos that I really know two man.
Would you put Outkast as a iconic hip hop duo?
I think it was more than two outcasts that helped that ship to get where it needed to be.
Yeah, but when people, when people talk about the best duos in the game, the two that come up are Outkast and Mobb Deep. And something I always say is they're kind of different categories of hip hop. Like they're not really comparable to each other in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the music they put out, the type of music, their catalogs. It's complete separate. Like you could hear Outkast on an alternative rock station.
Right,
Like
right.
they made that type of music, and it's not discrediting them. They're definitely they did a lot for hip hop, a great duo. Um, but that being said, would you put them in like a straight hip hop or more of a world type music category?
I don't know. Outcast, I would put them more as a worldly, you know,
Mm.
because of I think they more big, worldwide than just locally, local places. I think the genre of music that they give, it touches a lot of different audiences, which makes
So
them
here's a question. If you were to team up with one artist to do a duo album, just say a one-off album, who would it be?
right now in this day and age, right now.
Yeah. If you were to sit back and say, I'm confident putting out 10 plus tracks, straight fire with this person as a dual collab album, who would it be?
I listen to a lot of Griselda. I would say my boy Benny. I would say Benny the Butcher. Yeah, I would say Benny.
And what's one producer that you would love to, and it's not to glamorize or worship or anything, but what's one producer out there that you would love to do some projects with that you feel would just completely suit your style of music? And it's not knocking anybody you've worked with, but we always got to collab and learn and do different things, right? That's part of being an artist. So what's one person out there that's on your list that you want to do some projects with?
Kanye.
Kanye? Okay. That's
Absolutely.
that's a good one to have on the list.
Absolutely. Because the reason I say Kanye is because he got so many different lanes that he can go. And I feel like I'm that type of rapper, you know what I mean? I got a lot of different type of music, you know what I mean? All under the same realm, but it just go different ways, you know? And I
Yeah.
feel like I compliment that because of how many ways he went already with some of the material that he's put out. So I would definitely say Kanye.
Would you think that if you were to analyze, would you say Kanye is a better lyricist or is he a better producer?
Hmm. I mean, his rap, you know what I'm saying, is what he's
Yeah.
into. I'm not really, I'm more of a grittier rapper than what he's into. So I would say more his production for me.
Okay, okay. And so what do you got coming down the pipe next? You got an album coming out soon?
Yeah, I'm gonna drop on June 24th. That's my birthday. So I'm gonna drop an album June 24th.
Okay.
Um, it's pretty much finished and ready, and I'm just tightening it up now. And I'm gonna go, man. Just get it out there. We're on Rich 5, man. Shows is coming. You know, wherever you want me, I'm there.
So what we're gonna do, let's do a listening party for that album.
Copy. Absolutely.
You said that drops June 24th. Yeah, let's run a listening party for that album. And again, I appreciate you joining in the listening party we did for Lefty Pacino's album. That was a fun time.
That's my boy. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Lefty music. I'm a real big fan of his music.
And we're about to cut out on the block, but again, where can everybody find you on socials and your barbershop? Where can somebody come and get their haircut from you?
Oh, well, you're in Virginia, you're in Norfolk, you already know, man. Come see me, man. I'm at 801. You know what I mean? 26. Come see me. Um, Pretty much Ron Rich 5 on everything. The real moolah on Instagram. Get with me, you know what I mean? I'm always willing to work, always ready to work.
And that's what's going to make you great is that the fact that you're always ready to work and you're not afraid to put in the work.
So I appreciate you too, man. Big shout out to what y'all got going on, man. Big shout out to everything, man. Everything's coming up. I see you.
And I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate you to join us again. This is your second appearance. I see someone in the background there. Shout
That's
out
left.
to shout out to Lefty.
Give that two
Um,
fights, Rod Rich
Yeah,
and
definitely,
Unique.
definitely
Two
going,
fights.
definitely
Gotta
going that.
Shout out Cigar Talk Toronto, the best podcast, the number one podcast. It is what it is.
Facts.
hey, hold on, stay there because we're gonna run it a little bit longer this time. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you joining in. I always say, time is the most expensive currency, man. You can't make it back. So for you to sit down and spend this hour with us, definitely appreciate it. And we're about to sign off on the block. And that man standing behind you is going to take us out of here with his theme song, Cigar Talk with DJ Mikey G. We're out. Peace.
Hey.
So what do you guys got planned for the rest of the day? You gonna get some more music in?
Yeah, man. I got like two more joints I gotta do. I sent you them. I sent you the last two joints, right?
I listened. I listened to them. I went to pick up some furniture, and I was listening to them to go and pick it up. Man, I like it.
Oh yeah. That's all I'm
You
done.
you're definitely a style of music that would be on repeat in my playlist.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I received that, man. Thank you, man.
And my playlist essentially today has just become artists that have been on the show, really, because
Right.
everybody sends me so much music, and
Hmm.
I sit down, I listen to it, and it's all fucking dope music.
Hmm.
And it's refreshing to hear the resurgence of real hip hop.
Right. It's coming back. Man.
And that's what kind of sparked the idea in my head was to do like a mixtape episode because to have you on and do like an interview conversation and just to play one of your tracks, it doesn't, it gives your fans a perspective of you as a person, but it doesn't play more of your music. So I really want to start doing some mixtape episodes where I can really just hit straight music and really help get that music out there.
Yeah, that's why those listening parties, man, those things are good and they're important, man, because like you said, you give someone a real time to just sit down and hear what you're saying.
And you get multiple different perspectives and something in life is constructive criticism, right?
Hmm.
Where somebody might pick up on something that you don't see.
Right.
And as long as you're open, not saying you specifically, but as long as you're open to constructive criticism, that's where you learn to grow as an artist, as a human being,
Right.
because there's no such thing as perfection.
I agree. I agree.
And I
They,
really enjoyed it.
they say
It,
perfect. They say perfect is striving for perfection. That's perfect. You're
yep,
perfect striving for perfection.
yep, yep. And that's it because there's always something more to learn. And especially with the way music evolves, for example, it's always going to change. So there's always ways you can adapt to who you are as an artist to go with the evolving times. Let me ask you, you sit down and listen to music, right?
Uh-huh.
What would you say is the best form of music to listen to in terms of cassette, vinyl, CD, uh, MP3 file? Like, what do you think is the best listening experience?
Like who?
Not who, but just the type of sound that you're receiving.
Oh, well, like I tell you before, man, my background's a little, I got a chance to get CDs, I got a chance to get tapes, I got a chance to, and one thing about it, the tape qualities used to be good, man. How you record or what's recorded on the tape quality, you ain't never got to worry about a scratching. CDs, of course, they wear and tear. Quality they ain't really. So I would definitely say tapes, man. Tapes to
Yep.
me,
What was your first cassette that you got, hip hop cassette?
Eric B. and Rakim and Slick Rick, the Ruler Rap.
Okay.
Those are my first two cassettes. Yep.
I'll tell you a little story. My first cassette I got was Naughty by Nature.
Mm,
And I was a kid. So I was born in 85. So when they came out was like what, 93?
something like that.
Somewhere
Yes.
around there, right? So
Yep.
where I live in a province called Ontario, right? And in Ontario, we got Ontario Provincial Police, OPP. So when Naughty by Nature came out with that track OPP, I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, why are they down with the cops?
Got
Wasn't
it.
until, I became older and I realized, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact, man.
They're a group that I have in my Mount Rushmore, Naughty by Nature.
Say again.
They're a group that I have in my Mount Rushmore is Naughty by Nature.
Mm, mm,
There's there's things that, you know, they brought a different perspective, and I think they could have been bigger, but there's some stories I've heard as to why they're not bigger, because essentially they didn't sell out. And
I want to send a special shout out, Cigar Talk Toronto. Special shout out to Croatian Mafia Cigars. It's for the gangster in you, nigga. It's for the gangsters. DJ Mikey G. Put some cut on that dope. Lefty Pacino. Take it personal. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We got them ruggin'. I'm your favorite uncle. I'm the alcoholic street niggas with the guns and the duffel. I'm the one that used to smoke the cigar and whip the truffle. The one that Granny said always started trouble. The backcourt shot a triple-double. Coach kicked me out the gym cause the gun was bigger than the muscle. Now let me introduce you to the hustle. I whip the white till it locked and snip the residue above my knuckles. The epitome of street scuffle. I hit him hard with the banger, I was trying to make the belt buckle. I hit the corner and I make it bubble. What's in the pocket of my goose will make your feathers ruffle. I don't trust you, make the gauge bust you. We keep the circle tight, you just another square if we don't discuss you. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We gotta plug in. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We gotta get pillage through your village. Leave my spillage on your mistress. Attacking everything, you go on the hit list. Burn the evidence, witness. Told the lawyer eat the case with the biscuit. Looked the judge in the face and told him stick it. Smacked the plaintiff in the face and told him fix it. Tapped the Henny on the bottom, then we lift it. Fully equipped, the blue beamer and it's kitted. Bend the corner 730, then we hit him. The bars leave a bad taste, so I spit them. Machete 50-50 sharp, so I split them. The black expedition put me in position. Focus on the mission, full tunnel vision. Every verse calculated, spoken with conviction. My condition is to grind every day by tradition. Built it from the dirt, self-made composition. Competition for you in every breath is ammunition. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what